I committed crimes against artists on the internet, and now I'm making a video about it. This is a confessional. So here's the situation. I went on the internet. I downloaded other people's art. I took that art apart, and then I put it back together, and then put it back on the internet. And now I'm going to tell you how I did it. This is going to be an important lesson. I'm going to pull out my old pointing stick. You got to pay attention to where I point with this stick, because you're going to learn something about being a criminal. Alright, so the first person who I downloaded art from is a guy called Beezy. But apparently he also goes by Alan. Now I am going to show you the crimes I committed against him. Here we go, this is the crime camera. So, what we have here is Alan's floppa. And you can tell it's a floppa because of the floppa. Now, I targeted Alan because Alan had a lot of really great works, but especially works like this that have a lot of perspective and dimension, and I don't know if those are just throwaway terms. But this one in particular really stuck out to me because I wanted to capture something that was really in motion. And this is a really good example of that. This floppa here just kicking upwards like this, but then her body goes like this, and she's standing on this leg. And so the first thing I did was I broke down all of this creature's parts. I found out where all of the shapes are and how this creature works. So you can see here that what I'm looking for are the shapes that make up the body. So right here I've got a big oval and then another big oval right here. And then I'm connecting them right here, and this is the waistline. Alan's taken a lot of liberty with the proportions on this, and that's because he knows the rules, so therefore he knows how to break them. And so what we end up getting here is this dumbbell looking thing. Let's put a little hand here. Yeah, this shape looks like it's ready to get curled. Oh shoot, I drew that on the wrong layer. This floppa does a lot of twisting. So the belly button's like right here, and so she's twisting this way. So this part is the front side, but then we also see the back over here, and so the spine kind of twists this way. And another thing that twists a lot is the legs here. You can see I was trying to figure out which way the joints of the legs were going. So this joint right here, the front side of it is right here basically. That's the thigh. And the thigh is kind of on the other side over here. So the other thing I noticed about some of the liberties Alan was taking is how floppy this flopper really is. You look at this arm here, it kind of noodles its way over here. It kind of does its own little floppa. The bone is still there. The bone is probably still straight. It's not jelly. He hasn't made the bone that floppa. But it kind of looks like it's just totally jellified as it turns this way. But really all she's doing is anyway. So as you can see here what I ended up doing, I tried to replicate the shapes on my side after I traced it over on here. And you can see like I've made like little points here. These are little anchor points. So you can see I made these lines, and that was just to get the measurements correct. I didn't want to just eyeball it, or even just kind of like look at it like, moving my thing back and forth, because I'm kind of wobbly when I do that. So this really helped me, get the sizes right. And eventually, hopefully, I'll get to a point where I'm good enough where I can just eyeball it and just see how tall something is and where a point meets up. And then I tried to figure out where the body was. So after I found where the main bits of the body were, then I went over the clothing, And I went over the clothing because clothing is something I currently kind of struggle with, I feel like. And so I wanted to figure out how Alan does his clothing. So one particular bit here, look how this jacket floats around. And this is really good that it does this because it gives that motion of her coming forward and the jacket kind of catching the air right here. And I think that's really cool. I tried to figure it out over here. Didn't quite do it as well. So now here's the moment of truth. How successful was I in this crime? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove all of that. I'm going to take my sketch, I'm going to hold shift, I'm going to drag it over till I think it's just about right. And, ooh. Well, clearly I got a lot kind of off. I think right here I pretty much figured out where this leg was, and it's almost right. But the rest of it is just really off. If we see over here, I lifted the head up too much. The head needs to go more this way. You see, because I want to fix this, but I don't want to just make it perfect, right? I'm not just gonna, oh, okay, I'm gonna fix it. I'm just gonna adjust a tiny bit over top of Alan's work. Because I may be a criminal, but I have class. So I'm just gonna make a little note here that I need to pull this forward to like here. And this is where the elbow actually is. So I got the idea in my head of the floppa arm, the super floppy arm, and I think I over floppified it. As you can see, it is like way off. And if we take this away, yeah, the bone's broken. Bone's broken there. I broke it. I'm sorry, Alan. So we can set the case of Yeah Beezy aside and move on to the next criminal case I have for you. And that was against Broken Sketch, otherwise known as Norg. Here's Norg's work. This is Catherine. And the reason I decided to do this one next is because Alan sent me a message. He told me that if I'm gonna do this again, I have to figure out the gesture. Now, gesture is just finding the form of the shape. So, like, here's the gesture, here's the... this is just like a super simplified form. We're gonna exaggerate some of this, right? And so I wanted to do this one because this was a really good example of gesture. Now, Norg's characters... Oh my gosh. Norg is a masterclass of character design. Let me show you something. Look at this. Look at these dudes. Look at that one. This one's probably my favorite. He's like a little sponge dude. I don't know. Like, I could never come up with these in like a million years. I wanted to apply Alan's advice right away, and I felt like this was a good one to challenge myself on. Catherine here is stopping her momentum with her foot down here. But even though her momentum has stopped right here, her chest is still kind of going forward this way. So her chest hasn't caught up to her leg just yet. And even her hair here is like flopping this way. So I did a gesture thing, and I was going to erase this and say like, don't worry, I did a lot better than that. But that's a lie. So here was my initial gesture. And I think even on this side, I think I messed up. For starters, I kind of oversimplified the motion of this leg. This leg is really going up this way, but I made it look like it was going that way for some reason. So let's see what my freehand gesture looks like. Okay. So as you can see here, I kind of just did the same thing that I did over there. I failed to recognize the direction the leg was in. Anyway, this just shows me that I need to do more gesture practice, which is fine. Here's the shapes. In this case, I did find the rib cage. something interesting about Norg's characters is that I think they're all like stuffed animals or something. The reason I bring that up is because they're stuffed animals, Norg doesn't really care about bones. I mean, you can tell that he kind of knows where they should be. So like, here's the elbow right here, and he's got a knee bone right here. But then look at this arm. Like, this arm's kind of floppa too. Like, I guess there's like an elbow right there, but he just kind of does what he wants. And what he wants to do is reject the existence of bones. Either that, or he doesn't actually know that bones exist. And I don't know if I want to be the one to tell him. And then the hair was really fun. Actually, I had a lot of fun doing this hair. Got to make it real big and flowy. It definitely was off on that. It was fun to kind of figure out the shape of the hair. Alright, so moment of truth once again. Let's take my drawing and put it over the other one. And I don't think I did so bad. So first things first, I kind of put the torso a little bit too forward. But that doesn't excuse this. Like, look at this huge gap. I made her too big. Remember how I was telling you about the leg? Well, it gave me a lot of trouble. You can see it's like really messy down here. And I had it like down here. You can see these lines. They're kind of like remnants of where I had it. I had it like here, like down here. I had the angle totally wrong. And then the leg was all the way down here. It was awful. But I think the rest of the stuff I got pretty close. This neck needs to be changed. The head's only a little bit off, I think. Like, I'm not too worried about how I did on the hair here. But the head's only a little bit off. Look at that. That's pretty good. And I just need to extend this arm a little bit. Because I got the arm going the right way. This way. Then I didn't extend it out enough this way. So I need to pull it out a little bit to here. Somehow I nailed the tail. How did I do that? Like, look, that's almost perfect. That is like 90%. I mean, I know it's just a lot of like, but still, I got the curve pretty good. I swear I didn't, I got the curve pretty good. Alright, case closed on Norg. Now it's time to open the criminal report on Awo AJ. Awo. But it's like a 0 after the AW and then underscore AJ. So I don't know if it's AW0 AJ. I'm just gonna call him AJ. Now, AJ is really cool. He's making a video game that's basically a platform fighter. If Smash Run actually existed and it was about cleaning house. I mean, look at this. Look at this. They're fighting dust bunnies. She's hitting all the... That's Fox Laser. So this one's a little bit more static than the first two I did, which had a lot of motion going on. He's just sitting here, looking on his phone, looking at his wife. There's still gesture. The line of action is going like swoosh. And he's not straight up. He's kind of leaning over on this box here. So that's exactly what I tried to capture in my gesture. So let's pull it up. Alright, so as you can see from the gesture, the first thing that kind of stuck out to me is that this man's head is a square. Look at that square. This man's head features aren't as round as some of the other ones I worked on. Or at least it's not presented that way. I mean, it's not like there isn't a circle here where a brain fits. So it's still going like this. But the way the front of his face is shaped, it's just kind of flat, and that allows for his eyes to sit like here and here, and for his nose to kind of sit out. He's just kind of a boxy guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. The main thing with the shapes is that he's hiding a lot with this leg. He's completely hiding this leg's thigh. It's like back here somewhere. But that's okay, that's just a perspective. But that was actually kind of why I wanted to do this, is because, you know, as a novice artist, I feel like I have to show like every part of the body at all times. Like if something's hiding behind something, then I'm cheating. Or like I'm just hiding it behind there because I'm trying not to draw it. But things hide behind stuff all the time, and I need to teach myself that lesson. And this is like a perfect case of that. And we still gotta learn how it all connects together. Because this leg, even though it's hiding the rest of his leg, it's still proportionate to what's over here, right? So that was the main thing I was trying to learn from this picture. As you can see, I did kind of get the lean there. Made the leg kind of thin in my opinion. But let's see the next steps. Main thing that I really just couldn't get was this shoe. I'll show you. Look at this. Yeah, that shoe. Okay, let's just rip the band-aid off. Come on, grab the thing. Grab it. No, the whole group. And I thought it was a lot worse than this, but this isn't too bad. Again, the biggest offense is this freaking shoe right here. This is way off. This needs to be here. Top of it's right here. It needs to be up this way more. This whole leg is coming down too far. I need to raise it to like here. Because even then you can see I put extra fingers on the hand that weren't showing on the original. But I did pretty good on the chest. I did pretty good on the angle. Look at that. Yeah, that's lined up pretty good. But it just needs a few tweaks. Oh no, I forgot the tail! I forgot the tail. Now that's a real crime. Alright, are you guys still with me? Because I still have one more crime to confess. And that one involves Sono Kiddo. Sono Kiddo. Sono Kiddo. Sono Kiddo. Sono Kiddo. It's Sono Kiddo, right? I don't see any pronouns, so I'm just going to call him a they, just so I don't use the wrong one. But Sono Kiddo keeps up a little webtoon called Ventura City Drifters, and it's about these animals playing basketball. Their characters, I mean, look at this guy. Like, how do I express this well enough? Sono Kiddo's characters usually come in bite-sized silicone packages. They have consistent proportions, but they just seem a little bit shrunk compared to some of the other ones I did today. They're all consistent in their proportions, but Sono Kiddo takes the liberty and just kind of makes them a little bit squashier. Just a little bite-sized silicone package. That's what I'm going with. Just want to eat them. I don't know if that's going in the video or not. But the one that I picked, as you can see here, is a little bit more regular proportions. This is a little bit more in line with what the other stuff I've been doing today. Just so I learn more about how to implement that kind of style, though, I'll probably still experiment with some of Sono Kiddo's other characters. But to play it safe, I went with this one. And this one is way more tame than the last ones. The figure is pretty static, very little motion. She's just coming forward a little bit. But again, there's still gesture. So here's me trying to figure out the gesture over here. Here's the line of action. It's a little bit curved. It's not just straight up and down. So let's see how I did over here. I really need to practice gesture. One thing I found kind of interesting that I guess I learned from this picture is this with the knees right here. So usually when I do the knee, I do this little diamond shape. And I don't know if that's right to do or not, but it helps me find kind of where the rest of the leg goes. So from this shape, I can go down here and then back down this way, right? But I discovered that this line kind of keeps going up this way. And so when we're looking at it from directly this way, the way the back of the leg goes kind of comes up and makes a second diamond almost up here, and then these two edges meet right here. This probably only really works when you're going face on, right? Like this. That was just a little thing I noticed, and I'll probably implement when I'm doing my own projects. This was another great one for getting the folds in the clothing. See, there's a subtle little fold right here. I didn't do every single little detail, as you can see. The way the Sono Kiddo conveys this fold is with a couple of like little scritches here. There's a bunch of little stuff right here and here, and I thought that was really interesting, so I tried to replicate that, and I think it turned out all right. If we hide this, I think, well, you didn't do it exact, of course, but I think we kind of got the same idea. I think the main thing that I kind of struggled with over here that you might be able to tell is I was trying to get where the hip bone is right here. Not necessarily the bone itself. I was just trying to find out where these two parts of the body meet. As you can see, I replicated that little fold there. I did that right there. Alright, let's move this over. Not bad. Let's see what we got. I almost got it. After all that trial and error, I was still off by a little bit. So the head shape is fine-ish. It needs to come... Yeah, here's the deal. It needs to come forward this way a little bit. Because the neck's kind of in the right place. Legs are pretty good. I made this a little bit too close. But this one, wow, this one's pretty spot on. Isn't... Okay, this shoulder's interesting. I made the shoulder, like, way over here, right? But I figured out where the hand was. Like, this is mostly in the right place. That's weird. I just gave her way too broad of a shoulder on just that side. This is why I'm doing this. Alright, so I have come up with my own dossier of my crimes, and I am willing to do it again. Thank you again to the 4 artists that reached back out to me after I asked them if I could copy their homework. All their Twitter homepages will be in the description. If you haven't searched... Where's the description? It's going to be like here. All of their Twitter homepages will be in the description. If you haven't searched them up on Twitter already, please give them a follow, give them likes, because these are great artists, and I learned a lot from them. And I'm not done. So watch your back, hide your art, or throw somebody else under the bus if you want crimes committed against them. Because I'll do it. Maybe. So see you later, punks. I gotta go before the Twitter police find me.